The Wasp. Most people immediately think of an ink set, but for seasoned hammockers, we think of DutchWare titanium hardware. Back in the early days, this is one of Dutch's first innovative designs. So sit back and get ready to dive into this DutchWare difference video, where you get to hear a little bit of the backstory and why this solution was made just for you. Okay, Dutch, the Wasp. A lot of people have used this, but I don't think a lot of people know about the backstory of how you create it. You mind sharing?
Actually, the Wasp is one of my favorite stories because it was the quickest product to go from idea to market. And the whole idea behind it was I already had the Tarp fly, which was wildly successful, and there was one problem with it. You had to pick at the line, which was tight on the titanium hardware, to undo it, to move it along the ridge line, and of course it's very ornamental. But the problem with the Tarp fly was that if you wanted to move it, you had to undo it, and you had to take your fingernails and you had to pick at the line, you had to loosen it, and you had to undo a loop, and then when you got to where it had to be, you would take that loop and you would have to go a certain way around, and if you went the wrong way around, then it would block the wing to tighten it up. So I was trying to solve that problem, and that's what the Wasp did. And it started with this. It looks very ornamental, but this bridge going across here with these two holes over here, that is so that you could go and grab the line. But when I first had the idea, I was thinking Tarp flies because, well, it was a bigger version of the flies. And also, that's why you have this big arch, just like a dragonfly. Also, dragonflies are just cool, bringing nature into my design. And this is when I really started to hit my stride. The only problem with it was I did not want to have to type out the whole word dragonflies all day long in an email. But nevertheless, I was headed to the gym. It was midnight, and I thought about it the whole time while I was working out, and how I started with this arch, and then when I got back from the gym, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I printed out a picture of a dragonfly, I taped it up on the computer, and then I went and I just drew it out on AutoCAD. And it had this arch, it had these two holes, and then I just put a head on it with the normal head hook, the antenna, and the wings. But it had a larger torso, and it didn't have the stinger back here. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm done. I send it over to the cutter. 5 o'clock, the cutter gets in, and he goes and he cuts one. And I got it back and I was like, this is pretty good. But it had that big torso, and that was wasted weight and also wasted titanium. Also, it didn't have any way of locking it into place because the stinger wasn't there. So I went and I added this little stinger to it.
And that's the stinger?
That is the stinger.
So you kind of loop it over.
You grab it and then you pull it around like that.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And I chopped out that big torso, and I went and I had him cut that. And when I picked that up at about 7 o'clock in the morning, I looked at it and I said, that is a Wasp. And well, that's how the Wasp was born.
Okay, Dutch, what were some key milestones that you had with the Wasp?
Certainly this arch, to make it the depth of where these holes are so that you can grab this and then lock into place, because what this is really meant for is a continuous ridge line. You can slide this along the line and then you can lock it into place. So this is meant to move all the time.
Has the design changed since you first released it?
After I had drawn this into the Wasp, I have never changed this. This has the fewest rev levels of any product I've ever made. It was literally, this is the same drawing as what I produced that morning.
Okay. Ease of use from 1 to 10, 10 being the easiest. If I'm completely brand new to this, what would you rate this?
As soon as you get this down, and it doesn't take much to get this down, this is a 10. You will not forget how to use this.
Wow, that's impressive. Do you have any plans on changing this design in the future?
No, I think this one is pretty solid and it's perfect just the way it is.
Wow. Dutch, why titanium?
Titanium is extremely strong, extremely light, but what's really nice about it is it's malleable, so I'm able to machine it easily. And what's really important for the outdoors is this is not going to rust, this is not going to corrode, and it's also not going to stain any of your gear. So this is going to be here around longer than you and I.
Dutch, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today about the Wasp?
Well, it is meant to be used with 1.75 millimeter line, and the reason for that is because we want to use braided line, particularly zing it or lash it, and that is because it compresses, and also all the strength is in the entire line versus a sheath cord, which the strength is in the interior, but it would be gripping the sheath. So you have a lot more strength. Zing it and lash it's made out of Dyneema, which gives it a 400-pound breaking strength, which is extremely strong. Also, this is my sushi. This is the most gorgeous piece that I've made. You could use this as a necklace. I consider this jewelry for your tarp.
Dutch, if you have to sum this up, what problem does the Wasp solve?
This is the most adjustable connection point for a tree that you can have, especially made out of titanium, particularly for continuous ridgeline, but I think people have been using them also because they are really great that if you have a larger tree or the trees are further away, you can use less line because you can easily move this closer to the tree and don't have to come all the way back to the tarp.
Wow, that's really good to know. Thank you, Dutch.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody.